Dear friends, a Jewish proverb says that our head is round so that our thoughts can change direction. Therefore, changing our perspective can help us find solutions to complex problems. Reverse thinking is one of the ways that wise people find answers in their lives. Reverse thinking can be simply understood as using a different way of thinking than usual. Reverse thinking is going against the majority or the theories that are accepted by others. In today's video, Thinking and Change invites you to listen to 10 insightful stories about reverse thinking that can help you change your destiny. The first story is about selling refrigerators in the Arctic. Can we sell refrigerators in a place that is frozen all year round like the Arctic? To answer this question, a refrigerator salesman decided to go there to find out, despite the warnings of his colleagues and friends. He overcame the difficulties of terrain and weather to reach the Arctic, where the Eskimos lived, and offered to sell them refrigerators. Instead of introducing the cooling function, he talked about the function of storing fresh food and drinks without having to defrost them. Surprisingly, he got a lot of orders. With this seemingly unthinkable thought, he was able to succeed remarkably in life. Sometimes, great business opportunities come from very different ways of thinking than others. Successful entrepreneurs are those who dare to take the seemingly unreasonable path to find the most unique initiatives. Someone once said that if you want to be safe, follow the crowd. If you want to be successful, do the opposite. The second story is about investor Charlie Munger, an American investment consultant who is also Warren Buffett's best partner. In a short interview, someone asked him how he could find an excellent life partner. Charlie was silent for a moment and then replied, "To find an excellent person, you first need to become an excellent person. Because an excellent person is definitely not a fool." In fact, that's right. There is a saying that goes, "The wind blows at whatever level it meets the clouds at that level." Don't rush to find talented people before upgrading yourself. If you want to have an excellent life partner, first you need to be enough to be on par with that person. Otherwise, even if you pursue them all the time, in their eyes, you are just a stalker and a harasser. The third story is about Hassan, a rich and generous man. One day, a merchant borrowed $2,000 from him. He lent it to him and wrote a promissory note. When the repayment date was near, Hassan lost the promissory note. He was very worried and told his close friend about it. His friend said, "Write a letter telling him to pay $2,500. Hassan was surprised and said, "I no longer have the promissory note. I'm afraid that even $2,000 won't be available, let alone $2,500. His friend said, "Do as I say." Although very skeptical, Hassan still did as his friend said. A few days later, he received a letter from the borrower. In the letter, he wrote, "Dear sir, I only borrowed $2,000, not $2,500. I'm afraid there is a misunderstanding here, and I will return this amount to you when it is due." If Hassan had applied normal thinking, he probably wouldn't have been able to collect the debt. But when he used reverse thinking, he was able to get the loan back on time. In life, there are also very deadlocked situations, but when you change your perspective, you can solve them smoothly. The fourth story is about a Jewish man who dressed elegantly to a central bank in New York City to borrow $100. The bank clerk asked him, "Sir, you borrow $100? Our bank lends with an interest rate of 1.6% and requires collateral." The man immediately pointed to the shiny luxury car parked in front of the bank and said, "I will mortgage that car." The bank clerk was surprised. "Sir, you intend to mortgage that car to borrow $100? The man replied, "Yes, is that not allowed?" The bank clerk immediately replied, "Yes, sir." After making a loan contract and handing over the car keys to the bank clerk, he left. Someone witnessed and followed the man to ask him about it. At this time, the man said, "I plan to travel for a few months, and there is no place in this city that has a cheaper parking fee than at the bank." Indeed, with normal thinking, when traveling, you will need to find a place to park your car, and the cost is usually expensive. But with reverse thinking, all problems will be solved simply, easily, and conveniently. What we need is to change our perspective on the problem. The fifth story is about a Jewish man sitting and chatting with his 3 students. He challenged his students to find the different reward in the following story. One day, a hunter led his dog into the forest to hunt squirrels. When they went a short distance, the hunting dog saw a rabbit. It immediately chased after it. The rabbit ran very fast and climbed up a tree. The dog barked at the base of the tree. The rabbit was scared and fell from the tree, hitting its head on the dog. The dog fainted, and the rabbit escaped. At this time, the hunter ran over and took his dog home. After hearing the story, the 3 students all said, "Rabbits can't climb trees." The man asked further, "Do you see anything unusual?" They all replied no. The man gently asked, "So where did the squirrels go?" In our lives, there are many difficulties and hardships, mostly because we forget our goals, or sometimes we are on the way to the goal, but turn in a different direction. Therefore, you should focus on your goals if you want to achieve success in life. The 6th story is about a mother sitting next to her 8-year-old son who is doing homework. The boy didn't like doing homework, so he said to his mother, "You're so lucky because you don't have to do any homework." The mother smiled and said to her son, "Then I'll do your homework, and then you check it. Do you agree?" The boy heard that and happily agreed. After the mother finished the homework, she gave it to her son to check. The boy seriously reviewed it and explained the wrong parts and how to do it correctly. But the boy didn't understand why his mother did everything wrong. Inherently, we often impose our way of thinking on others. Everyone has their own thoughts, and no one wants to listen to others, even if it is good. Especially children, they don't like adults ordering them, but like to be free to think and decide everything. So instead of yelling and leading to conflict, the mother in the story above chose a different but effective way of thinking. The 7th story is about an old man who lived peacefully in his small house in a coastal town. Every day, he would sit on a bench in front of his house, look at the blue sea, and read books. One day, a group of children came to play. They occupied the bench in front of the old man's house and threw stones at the trash can next to it, making a lot of noise. One day, the old man said to the children, "I love watching you play happily. Every day, I will give each of you 3 coins if you come here to play." The children were very excited and happily accepted the offer. They used all their strength to throw stones at the trash can and shouted to make as much noise as possible. 2 days later, the old man sadly said to them, "I still love watching you play happily, but my pension is not much anymore, so I can only give each of you 1 coin. Although very disappointed, the children still agreed. A few days later, the old man sadly said that he had lost his pension and had no more money. Currently, he could only pay all of them 3 coins. The children were annoyed. 3 coins for all of us? That's a waste of our time. So from then on, the old man had a peaceful life as before. For children, commands and advice are their enemies. Whether good or bad, they will not listen. So the old man used reverse thinking to be able to make the children no longer bother his life in a fun way. The 8th story is about Sima Guang saving his friend. Sima Guang was a smart boy. One day, when he was playing hide-and-seek with his friends, an accident happened. Sima Guang's friend hid in a large water jar but didn't know that the jar was not full of water. He fell into the jar, choked on the water, and couldn't get out, so he panicked and called for help. Everyone was very worried and panicked, trying to pull him up. Only Sima Guang calmly took a stone and smashed the jar to save his friend. The water in the jar overflowed, and the boy was able to get out. Usually, when we see someone drowning in water, we often think of ways to pull the boy up, but Sima Guang did the opposite of normal thinking. Sometimes in difficult situations, we need to change our perspective to find a solution. The 9th story is about a young man standing on a bridge, wanting to jump to commit suicide. When people came to dissuade him, the young man sadly said, "I don't want to live anymore. My lover has married someone else. The love for the past 8 years is no longer there. What is the meaning of my life?" Despite everyone's dissuasion, the young man was still determined to find death. An old man heard the story, said, You slept with someone else's wife for 8 years and still have the nerve to be here talking about life and death? The young man pondered for a moment, then slowly stepped down and no longer had the intention of committing suicide. In this world, even the matter of life and death can be resolved, so other matters, no matter how deadlocked, can be solved. Therefore, you need to determine whether you want to find a solution or not. Changing your perspective will open up different paths for your life. The 10th story is about a poor student who goes to school during the day and has to work part-time at a bar in the evening. The young man confided in a customer, saying, "I go to school during the day and I have to work extra to earn money." The customer, hearing this, felt sorry for him and advised the young man to focus on his studies and not rush to work. The next day, the student also confided in the customer, but in a different way. He said, "Although I work serving people here every night, I always spend time during the day studying." The customer praised his studiousness and wanted to help him find a suitable job so that he could have more time for studying. You see, the same meaning, but the first time the listener felt negative, but the second time the statement made the listener feel optimistic and persistent, even though it was hard, but still did not give up studying. When communicating with others, there are also some words that, even though they are true, make the listener feel uncomfortable and do not want to interact. Instead of hurting the truth or justifying that I'm straightforward, let's change the way we speak the truth with a reverse mindset. Feel free to share your interests, topics you'd like to explore, or stories you want to share with the community. We're eager to hear and learn from you. Let's create a positive space where we can grow and change together for the better every day.